Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. It's a Money Monday on Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're serving it up to you every single day, noon to 2 Eastern, from the Hooters Heat Studios. And yes, a little later on, it's true, folks. The CEO of Iconic Brands is going to be here and tell us all the great things that are happening with Hooters. And by the way, we're well fortified in studio also, might I add, as we are every single day. I'm doing what I need to do. You should also. Take your dose of Corona today to fight off the coronavirus. Corona a day keeps the doctor away, that's for sure. And on Money Monday, we talk about money, and we bring you the money guests. And this guy is the exacta on that. The Watchdog of Wall Street joins us now, Chris Markowski. Chris, thanks for joining us back on Liquid Lunch.
Great to be here on a Money Monday.
Now, in my open, you may have heard, I was talking about the retirement gap. Mm-hmm. Many people have these IRAs and stuff, and they're talking about, oh, well, I'm saving for my future. And what most people don't realize, but me and you know, because we see what happens inside the sausage factory, most people are retiring at 65, and they don't realize it. They're going to live, 1 out of 4 of them are going to live past 90, okay? And they have, on average, about 20 months of savings. So the gap is, somewhere around 20 years. What is an 80-year-old to do?
It's actually worse than that, John, quite honestly, because you're also dealing with the fact that people have been trained. I try to tell people conventional wisdom is poison. You've got pension funds all around the country that are running out of money because they made projections of when people were going to live and when they were going to die. And what's sad is that you don't want to be in retirement where you're going to be worried about living too long. I mean, think about that concept in of itself. It's like you want to retire, you want to enjoy yourself. It's like, I got to worry about living too long. You got other things you got to worry about. People need to prepare much, much better than they have been.
So, to Chris's point, if you're one of the 10,000 people turning 65 today, and you're concerned, then don't drink the Corona, because if you don't have more than 20, you may want to just get the coronavirus and live out your days of whatever 20 months of stuff you got there. But no, all kidding aside, your radio show, The Watchdog on Wall Street, you try to give people, like I do, inside tips, like what's happening. What's the real deal inside the sausage factory? You don't want to see all that stuff getting grinded up and put it in a casing, but you eat it somehow. But they're poisoning themselves with these IRAs.
Oh, absolutely, and they're not doing the right thing with them. Another issue that we're running into that we see all the time, John, is they get taken advantage of because they see they're behind the 8 ball, and that's where you get a lot of criminals and crooks taking advantage of senior citizens, saying, hey, listen, you're behind, you're going to have to do all of these really aggressive things in your portfolio, and it ends up blowing up on them.
So let me ask you this. I, put out my weekly newsletter. It's free if you want it. No credit card, no sign up, no nothing. Just email me, JT, I want the newsletter, and you're in. But I tell people if they're investing correctly, they have a diversified portfolio, they're invested for the long term, for their needs, they shouldn't be reactive to these like dips, these 500, 600. I say namaste on those days. Stay calm, step back, relax. And if you're doing what's right, keep some cash on hand. There might be some bargains out there. Is this a good time to maybe be looking for some bargain hunting?
You're always looking to buy low. I mean, it's a simple concept. But the thing is that, John, you've been doing this a long time, too. These major movements that you see in the markets right now, a lot of this stuff is electronic trading and algorithms. And once it starts heading one direction, you want to step out of the way. But more often than not, it ends up being an overreaction. And it is always an opportunity. You're seeing a lot of things over the past month that got down to some pretty nice levels.
One of my good friends, a guy I talk to all the time about what's happening, is guy Joe Dente. He's a big, old school New York Stock Exchange guy, and he says to me all the time, JT, follow the Fed, because you can't fight the Fed. And when you see these dips and stuff, we still have a good Fed right now, and they still have a little ammo. So I'm not really that concerned about it, although I would like to see the market back over 29,000.
Well, you mentioned the coronavirus, not just the Fed. Chinese market's been shut down. It took a major sell-off today, but I didn't think it was nearly as bad as it should have been. It was, 8-9% down, I think. Same thing. The Chinese central bank pumping money into theirs, too, to try to keep it up.
Right. I had a currency trader yesterday at the bar. I think maybe he had a few too many shots of Hooters Heat, but he was telling me how China's got tons of money to pump into the economy right now. And I said, you don't know what you're talking about. They just lowered their bank reserves to 10%. Their banks only have 10% reserves right now. That's their piggy bank. That's all they got left to play with right now in China. I think that they got some bigger problems than the coronavirus, and they're hiding it with this fake disease.
Well, the growth is an issue. When they tell you that they're showing 6% growth in China, it's probably -2. That's how I look at it. Anything they say is a fugazi. Anything coming out of China, it's just not right.
All right. You see? It's a fugazi. If you don't know what that is, you got to watch the movie Donnie Brasco. It's like a fake, a phony, a fugazi. This guy's no fugazi, okay? He knows everything that's happening behind the scenes, behind the curtain on Wall Street. And you could hear him. He's also the president of Markowski Investments. And you can hear him on his show, Wall Street Radio, on he's the Watchdog on Wall Street. Chris, thanks so much. You got to come back and join us again.
Man. Thank you.
Anything you see out there, feel free to call in, Skype in. Our audience wants to hear about it. What you want to hear about is what's coming up next also, because Fernando Uribe is going to be here. He always comes in with a perspective of an academic, but also an objective guy who knows what's happening. He's on the college campuses in New Jersey. He's hearing what the kids are hearing. He's seeing what these crazy liberal professors are doing to some of these kids. All that and more about the impeachment with Fernando Uribe right after this.